Hello everyone, welcome to the Age of Listening channel. We are not going deep into individual symbols today. We're finishing the course on how do I describe, so that I can help you learn tarot, how to describe the particular element, and today it's water. So this is talking about feelings, love, imagination, joy, peace, harmony, excuse me, intimacy, intuition, gut feelings, dreaminess. It's that whole kind of aquatic dwelling and looking into our emotional navels. Some people will like this, some people won't, but you know, one thing I have found is that when you are connected emotionally and you are emotionally intelligent, you have a greater chance of being connected to the divine, connected to your psychic abilities. So the four elements bring about different energies, as we've seen, and they do affect us all very differently. I just get exhausted looking at the one's energy, because all that fire energy, and that isn't me. I'm not that person. I'm more languid and sanguine and kind of laid back. But the series of elements in the tarot show us how they physically and spiritually manifest in our lives. So how do cups manifest in our lives? How can we harness them? How does something make you feel? How do I feel about this situation? And it's really getting you to focus and look within yourself. Okay, so hopefully if you're on here, you like to navel gaze occasionally. So this is the card, as you'll know, by the Ace of Cups. And here are some examples. We've got the Light Seers, Witches Tarot, and the Everyday Witch. Oh, please give us a like. I forgot to say, if you give us a like, it helps me get my channel further up, and more people are able to see it. But anyway, right, let's go straight to this. So here we have the Holy Grail. This is the super consciousness, God's essence for everything, and it's overflowing because God wants us to have everything. And when we have more, as I said, more, we have more emotions and we harness and use our emotions, we have more connection to God. So of course it's going to be an overflowing cup. Again, you're being given here really a reason to live. You're given this gift of intimacy, of love and joy and peace, but you're really given emotion, full stop. You know, is there a time where we need an emotional pick-me-up? This card is giving this to you, and I love that. So you have to embrace that emotional feeling. Okay, sometimes, I mean, as Abraham Hicks says, that emotion doesn't necessarily, I mean, preferably it's love, but sometimes getting angry, sometimes having that emotion and displaying it and getting it out and experiencing it. So this is a real experiencing emotional energy, full stop. Now here, this is where we get into the sticky wicket, because this has several different kinds of meaning. And while I don't actually really want to get into it that much, I feel that if I don't, you'll kind of go, well, I don't understand that, and can you clarify, because I think that's a load of rubbish. So I will try. But here, although it's kind of said, oh, someone's coming into your life and they're offering you a cup, it's actually, the female is offering the Fool. She's offering him 2 cups. He's got one in his hand, or he's already got one, but she's offering him the other one, because 2 is about union, but it's also about union within yourself. So we're looking at not just balance, but we're also looking at sort of opposites coming together, but coming together within yourself, you know, interconnecting. It looks at karma, you know, that cause and effect. Nothing is by chance. And so you've got, he's complete when he has both the cups. That's what's kind of, that's about. But I want to save more any of that talk for when we look into the symbols a bit more deeply, because it is a backdrop. There is lots to talk about it, but it's often spoken about as being two lovers coming in, and as you can quite clearly see. But two is much more than that. It's union with yourself, union with the divine, completeness. It's about all of the sides of you joining up, and you know, so, but we'll talk about that probably another time when we go into it. So here we've got the very traditional celebration, joy and happiness. It's harvest time, and so you've got a group of people raising their glasses in celebration after having probably a lot of hard work. Or it can be here, you know, sign of friendship. Nothing is better when you're celebrating something than doing it together with people. So you're always going to have these three people in celebration. Now, I'd much prefer to look at this bonding card and look at the symbols, because they tell a much bigger story. But for now, here we've got a bonding experience, enjoying the moment together. This is another card that has caused quite a bit of there's quite a bit of difference in how people view this particular one. There's two ways to view it, really. Bear with me a second. Sorry, I dropped my notes. So, okay, so a cup is being offered here, but he's not even looking at it. He's not registering it. And there are two different ways to view this card. So one is he's too young. He's, too young to be the cynical. He's a bit defensive. He's got his arms crossed across his heart. So here is a man who's closed off from wanting positivity or feeling his emotions. So he's got 3 cups already and sees no other way to feel. So a little bit broody. This is the way it is. And, you know, we often see here, you know, he's focusing on the 3. There's nothing inside of them. And he's being offered one, but he's just not interested. Now, that is one way of looking at this, but I deeply looked into the symbols of this card to get to the bottom of it, because the other one is he knows what he feels and feels what he knows. So, but a new emotion is being offered and he's not in the least bit interested. Sound familiar? You know, we get stuck in a rut sometimes. So he feels like he's enlightened enough. Thank you very much. And his mind has become fixed like stone, which is kind of the colour of his garment here. So it's all about remaining stubbornly fixed on his overview and what he believes is actually happening. And he's been asked to expand his thinking, expand with new emotion, a new way to feel. Amy M. Wall states in her book that if left alone without a tower card, this can lead to fanaticism. This person has got the blinkers on and they're being comfortable in what they believe in, and the card is saying, I want you to ascend, but in order to ascend, you've got to receive this gift. So it matters which way you want to take this. I'm in two minds. I know that a lot of people don't view it. You know, people have their own opinion, and to be really honest, you can view it however you feel. at the end of the day, he isn't looking at this. He's not receiving this gift. And to me, how many times do we get fixated in a frame of mind and we just don't want to listen? Oh, actually, I've just gotten an idea. That's happening right now, folks. There's lots of people who have a set idea and they're just not willing to open their mind and see what is being shown to them. Yeah. Okay, so we move on then to the Five of Cups. Oh my goodness. So this one, you may, just to remind you, it's a really pretty card in the sense that we've all been there. We know how this feels. So 5 always means loss or conflict. And here he's got 3. They've spilt over and there's 2 still remaining. But, you know, he's kind of got dark navy indigo shawl or cloak on him. And here we see how loss feels, you know. Useful to remember that this is just a stage. All of these cards are a stage. It is normal and healthy to feel lost for a time, and some people don't want to mourn something. I just want to put it behind them as soon as it happens. But you know, there is a time to mourn. And so this card is you've got a river flowing through the middle here and a bridge over, and you can feel that flow of sorrow. You can feel you know, his despair. But there is going to come a time where he turns around and he sees those cups and he's going to go over that bridge and he's kind of going to snap out of it. But for right now, that's exactly what he's feeling. And, you know, here she's got a great party. There's more to drink. There's balloons still here, but she's looking at what she's lost. Okay, feel it. Feel bad. You know, I always say to people when they've, you know, probably a marriage has broken up, and I'll say to them, okay, you know, you've got your year to feel as miserable as you want, but after that year you kind of got to snap out of it. You can't stay in that stagnant place. So now we've got, I know I'm tough, aren't I? But that's the way I am. So here you've got the 6 of Cups. So 6 means communication, and what beautiful pictures that we have. It usually looks like this, where and all sorts of things have been said about these. Are they children? Are they dwarves? You know, seriously, I've read so much about this card, but it's here we're talking about generosity, the giving and receiving feeling, you know, the heart of the spiritual experience. Because let's face it, life is about giving and life is about receiving. We receive we receive experiences, and we receive well, we have a past. And this is also harkens back to childhood memories. Possibly we idolize them a little bit. But, you know, our life, we've received so much. And once we get to that stage, it's about reliving our childhood through our children, you know, and kind of giving back to them the childhood that we never had, or the childhood that we did have. And in a positive and wonderful way, of course. But here you've got a man who's reminiscing about his past, and you've got an old dog and a young dog, although either he's greyed very early or that dog has lived for a long time. But anyway, he's looking back, and you've got the art of giving and receiving. Mattering to the cards that you have with them, it will really tell you what this reminiscing sort of card is about. So much to say on it, but I'm going to leave it until we do them separate. Another card which is cloaked in all sorts of mystery, this one. But so you have the 7 of Cups. This is kind of your emotions and imagination, and I've always seen this as quite a positive card, because 7 means victory. So you've got on here kind of the okay, you can be stuck being a habitual fantasizer. They can lock us in place, but they can inspire. You know, these kind of egoic fantasies, they can be the start of something or the destruction of something if they're not completed. So really, I mean, I've written down here, wreath of victory has a skull of death on it. So here's somebody, see if I can do it. Will it work? Yeah. So I came across, whoop, don't know if that comes through. Ooh. Yeah, can you see the skull on the wreath? Ooh, what does that mean? So we'll be going through and talking about that when we go looking at the symbols. But basically you've got here somebody who has dreams, who has aspirations. They're not making their mind up. They've got to, though. And really it's a question card. It's not a yes or a no card. It's a, okay, so you're in these wonderful emotions of fantasy. Are you going to do something about it? Because you can be, you know, being a daydreamer. That's not where you want to be locked, is it really? Okay, so now we've got the 8 of Cups. Love, love, love this card. Love, 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 love this card. So 8 is about movement or restriction, or feeling restricted to the point that you want to move. Okay. What have I put here? I've got so many notes on this particular one. This is getting out of Dodge. I'm getting out of Dodge, you know. So unlike the mental decision of getting out of Dodge card with the swords, this is based on sort of the heart of the sort of the deep emotions that's leaving you realizing that this situation is not practical and you need to walk away, and he's choosing him. You know, because sometimes, you know, moving from the 7 of Cups, where he's in hesitation, what should I do? What should I do? And it's got to a point where he's made his decision, and it's getting out of Dodge. He's made the decision, and the stalling has finished, and the traveller has chosen to leave. He's not unbalanced anymore. He's not blocked. And he's moving into higher awareness, and he's chosen kind of hopefully to be honest with the divine, and decided that, you know, okay. So what I kind of really like is the moon on here. So this is moon always looks at personality on a deeper spiritual place, and if you look, the moon is in eclipse, so it's talking about inner awareness has taken over from daily concerns. So the daily concerns are so has been so heavy on them that his inner awareness has said, right, I've just got to go, I've got to make a decision and move on. I've got so much noise going on. I don't know who's around, but they're making a lot of noise. But here, you know, the actual cups have sunk, but she's walking off. There's no moon here, but she's walking off. It looks like into the, you know, early morning sun. Here you've got the moon and the stars, and she's gaining her inspiration from the moon and the stars. There's lots of emotion here, but she's decided to leave. And here, lovely, she's just sat on the beach, and she's gaining that intuition to know what she has to do next. Good on her. Get out of Dodge City. It's always the best place. I'm not saying run away, but you know, sometimes it's best to leave Dodge. So now we have another card here, just to remind you. This is very, oh, it says 10 here. Where's my 9 gone? I've just realised I did that when it should have been the 8 of Cups. But they kind of, you know, this is how you can interpret cards, you know. Here she's got the cards, the cups behind her. Here the cups are behind her, and this is how you read them, you know. But anyway, moving on from my mistake. So you've got the 9 of Cups, and this is one of those contentious ones again. So with the 9 here, this card can be seen in multiple ways. I tend to go with the fact that he's got his arms crossed again, and so to me there's a blockage here. And this card, it can be 2 things. It can be, hey, you know, I'm somebody who welcomes in and entertains, but there's a certain shallowness can be about it. You know, the hostess with the mostess is often what I would say about this card, but after revisiting the symbols on here, he is putting his cups on a pedestal high above him, and while he is a passionate person here, there's a certain amount of pomp and ceremony in this one. He stands proud, he's got his legs open, showing the red tights, but here he sits, not really compromising. He's garnered the table full of cups, but he's protecting that heart. So the only thing that comes to my mind on that is he's stored his wealth in his emotions. He's a man, I greatly suspect, I think, whose waters run deep, but he doesn't show that to everyone. He might be a little bit superficial and might be judged, or rather he might be judged superficial, but he's kind of picky who he opens up to. And so for me, this card is more about, as I say, the emotions are kind of kept away from him and kept up high. And yeah, hopefully you understand what I mean by that. Sorry, it sounded like I bottom burped. It's not, it's my skin sticking to my chair. Anyway, so you know, this is one of those cards where you have to decide what is it that you want to feel. You know, the waters run deep. They definitely run deep, very, very deep. But, you know, hostess with the mostess, she's smiling at everybody. But how deep is she really willing to go with people? How much is she really willing to open up and be... I don't like the word authentic, but be vulnerable is what I would say. Okay, so, oh, don't get this wrong again. So now we are on to the, yeah, 10 of Cups. So 10 of Cups, we have a beautiful card. It doesn't need really any. We know what it means. This is a moment, a snapshot in time where everything is great. Yeah, I mean, on the original card, it's a backdrop card, so it's actually giving us a lesson. But I'll go into that when we do the symbolism. But for now, 10 is completion. And it's an episode. The rainbow is a covenant between God and the earth, and it's a bridge between earth and the divine. So the man is in heaven, you know, the fool's journey. Sorry, he's in kind of his heaven, and he's got a lovely wife, he's got children, and he's just feeling it. Yeah, bravo. Moving over to the Page of Cups. Oh, 25 minutes. Let's see if I can hurry. So the Page of Cups, here again, here we have this young spirit, this young message, a flicker of something, nothing substantial, more inspirational. And so here he is. He's kind of, his head's in the clouds. Whoops, move that over. His head's in the clouds a bit. He's thinking about love. There's all sorts of fun things, you know, pigs may fly, but he's having a spark of thought, spark of inspiration, a spark of kind of that thought, that imagination, really. And when we go into here, I can't wait to do the symbolism of this card, because you'll understand more of what it is. But here we have the page looking at a fish. It's offering him, he's focusing on the fish popping out, but without really going into the rich symbolism. We just stick to the basics for now. It is a backdrop. It's a backdrop one, so we've got lots of lovely emotion, but I would say the fish is offering kind of psychic and imagination. It's a gift to make something bloom, but are you ready to enter into that sphere? Sphere. Now we have the Knight. So with the Knight, oh God, the Knight is what a serious woman never wants to receive. So the Knight is somebody, and I love this, I've got to show you this. Right, so he's got heart bubbles, so everything looks cool. And let me move it here. So you can see he's offering a cup of love, but what is in the water? Yeah, it's a pig and shark. Don't get too fooled, ladies. See a man and see what substance he has, because this card is really about, if you're talking about it in love, this is kind of, yeah, he's doing it, he's showing you, he's kind of, people are coming to you. It doesn't have to be a man, but somebody's coming to you with a bit of an offering. But it's the Dreamer's card. It's still a bit fantasy. He can bring you roses. Is he going to stick around though? Possibly not. So without going into the symbolism, this is a Knight card is not a serious prince. So I do tend to roll my eyes when I see this card, because it's not a serious lover. It's not a king. It's not a king or probably the Lover's card, or possibly kind of the Hangman. But the landscape is very parched here. It's very sandy, and yet, you know, the Knight is kind of trotting along with this water. And you know, I'll talk about this probably a little bit later, I think, when I do it separately. But common sense is needed here. This is common sense. It is a doing card, but it's in the early stages. Women can be fooled by romance. And that's my door. Oh, that's my kids coming back. I better hurry up. So here we have the Queen. Dead easy card to understand. She is the epitome of feelings and emotions. She really should have been a mermaid, because you've got the mer people here. She's throne is sat in its own mini island in the middle of like a bay, it looks like. She is the antithesis of emotions. And this card really does kind of sum it up. She's just dwelling in that water. And so when you get this card, she's probably not the most serious person on the face of the planet, if I'm honest. She's a little bit floaty, you know what I mean? But on the grand scheme of things, she knows all about emotions. She understands herself, and she's got this nurturing pink inside, and which shows that kind of unconditional love. So with her, I don't know how to pronounce it, the ciborium, it's a metaphor really for the situation where you've got the outer body being the ciborium, and the water it contains is the emotions that we have within us, and she's deeply concentrating on that. So if you receive this card for yourself, you're probably being shown that you are on a path of devotion or service, you know, but it's important to realize that I mean, for me, this woman is going to be very intuitive. She's going to be connected spiritually, and yeah, because emotions go hand in hand with the divine if you can conquer them. And we do conquer them. Well, there she is there, sipping from her cup. And here we have the example of the king who has mastered it, and has not only mastered it and felt it, but he's also using those emotions to control himself and others. So some people could say, well, it can be a bit, you know, probably might be a bit manipulative, but you know what, if you're a diplomat, isn't that what you do? Don't you? Aren't you a bit manipulative? Because that goes hand in hand with you know, when you control your emotions and harness that energy, and you've developed that self-control, you know, where the queen swims in her energy, he is in the situation where he's using restrain, and you can see that here. He's using that restrain, and so once he's battled and understood those emotions, he's able to help others. He kind of can be a bit of a guru. And I end it with, you know, yeah, he's a diplomat, calm, wise, caring and tolerant. And I got that he's the older version, the older man version of Spock. So where you then this is where you have, you know, the King of Cups. Right, please give me a like, because if you give me a like, I get seen better by other people. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this.